Chosen one. Have you felt it? That quiet stirring deep within, like a whisper reminding you that something greater is already set in motion for you? There's a reason you're here right now, listening to this message. It's not by chance. It's because your spirit recognizes that something is shifting. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but deep down, you know. A financial breakthrough, no, a divine appointment, is already unfolding with your name on it. Let me slow down for a moment and talk to you, not as a voice on a screen, but as someone who understands the weight you've been carrying. I know what it feels like to question if God has heard your prayers, to wonder if the promises spoken over your life were just hopeful thoughts, or if they were real. I remember a time when I sat in silence, staring at a stack of unpaid bills, heart heavy, mind racing. I had done everything I could in the natural, worked hard, stayed faithful, but nothing seemed to move. It felt like heaven was quiet, and in that quiet, doubt crept in. Did God forget me? Was I really chosen? Or was that just something I wanted to believe? But here's where everything changed. Not with a loud miracle, not with a sudden windfall. It happened in a whisper. One evening, when I was too tired to even pray properly, I simply sat there. And in that stillness, I felt it, clearer than ever before. A gentle but firm assurance in my spirit. You haven't been forgotten. I've been working behind the scenes. What's coming isn't just provision. It's a sign of who you are to me. That, chosen one, is when I understood. This journey isn't about chasing blessings. It's about realizing that blessings chase those aligned with divine purpose. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Think about that. Before you ever faced a single struggle, before life tried to tell you who you weren't, God had already declared who you are. Set apart, marked for something greater. You see, when you're chosen, your path will never look like everyone else's. Others might seem to soar ahead while you're stuck in seasons of waiting, pruning, refining. But that's because God isn't just handing you provision. He's preparing you for a legacy. This financial breakthrough that's approaching you, it's not random. It's not luck. It's not even just an answer to prayer. It's a confirmation, a divine signature that says, "This is my child, and I provide not just enough, but overflow." But let me be clear. This isn't just about money. It's about restoration. It's about God rewriting the narrative of lack that's followed your family for generations. It's about stepping into a season where you don't just survive. You build, you bless, you lead. I want you to pause and breathe that in. This is bigger than paying off debts or catching up on bills. This is about stepping into alignment with your calling. When God releases provision to a chosen one, it's because He knows you'll steward it with purpose. Maybe you've been asking, "When, God? When will it be my turn?" But here's a better question. God, how do I prepare my heart for what you're about to release? Because trust me, the blessing is already approved in heaven. It's on its way. The question now is, are you ready to carry it with wisdom, gratitude, and vision? Let me tell you something personal. Before I ever saw breakthrough in my life, God had to break something in me. My attachment to fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of doors closing. Fear that I wasn't worthy. And once I let go of that fear, once I truly believed that being chosen meant being provided for, everything shifted. Chosen one. I want you to hear this clearly. God isn't teasing you with promises. He's teaching you to trust His timing. And His timing says, you're stepping into a season of divine release. If this is resonating with your spirit, I invite you, no, I encourage you, to comment 222 right now. It's not just a number. It's a declaration. A way of saying, I align myself with God's timing, God's provision, and God's purpose. And while you're here, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because this is just the beginning. We're walking this journey together, and I'll be here to remind you of who you are when the world tries to make you forget. Now, before we close this part, I want to leave you with this thought. There's a reason why the enemy fought you so hard in silence, why delays seemed endless. It's because what's coming isn't ordinary. It's supernatural. The financial check that's heading your way, it carries more than numbers. It carries restoration. It carries God's stamp of approval. So lift your head, straighten your back. Speak life over your situation. Say it with me right where you are. I am chosen. I am provided for. My breakthrough is sealed in heaven and manifesting on earth. Let that be your daily affirmation until the day you hold that blessing in your hands, and even beyond that day. Because once you realize who you are in God's eyes, you'll never fear lack again. Stay tuned, chosen one. The next chapter of your story is about to be written in abundance. Part 2. The hidden purpose of your waiting season. Chosen one, let's have an honest conversation. Waiting. It's one of the hardest things we're asked to do. Not because we're impatient by nature, but because when God places a promise in your heart, the silence that follows can feel unbearable. You've felt it, haven't you? That tension between what God said and what you currently see. The promise feels so real in your spirit, but the reality around you seems unchanged. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and you start to wonder, did I misunderstand? Did I miss my moment? But here's what I've learned, and I believe this will set someone free today. God doesn't waste waiting. In fact, waiting is one of His greatest tools. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman I knew, faithful, hardworking, full of vision. In her 50s, she lost everything. A job she had dedicated 25 years to vanished overnight due to company downsizing. Just like that, her security was gone. She applied everywhere, but door after door stayed shut. At first, she was angry, hurt, confused. She cried out to God, "Why would you let this happen after all I've done right?" But months into that silence, something unexpected happened. She began to dream again. Not about returning to the corporate world, but about starting something of her own. A passion she had buried for decades resurfaced. She began crafting, creating, selling small handmade items online. It didn't happen overnight, but slowly that side project turned into a thriving business. And here's the best part. Years later, she looked back and said, "Losing that job was the greatest blessing God ever gave me. If He answered my prayers the way I wanted, I would have stayed stuck." Chosen one, what feels like a delay is often divine redirection. Ecclesiastes 3:11 reminds us, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Not your time, not my time, His time. You see, if God gave you the blessing too soon, it might crush you. If He opened the door before you were ready, you might walk through it with the wrong mindset, the wrong circle, or without the maturity to sustain what He wants to give you. The waiting season isn't punishment, it's preparation. Right now, while you're wondering why things are taking so long, heaven is aligning people, opportunities, and resources you don't even know you'll need yet. God is not just answering your prayer. He's building a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of your blessing. And here's something I want you to really hear in your spirit. Sometimes, the greatest miracle isn't what God brings to you, but what He develops in you during the wait. Patience, discernment, resilience, trust. These are currencies in the kingdom far more valuable than money. I know the world will tell you to hustle harder, to push through, to never stop grinding. But God's system is different. It's not built on burnout, it's built on trust. on knowing when to move and when to be still. Have you ever noticed how Jesus, even with the weight of his mission, never rushed? Every step was intentional. Every delay had purpose. So why do we think our journey should be any different? I want to ask you something personal. When was the last time you thanked God for the doors he didn't open? For the prayers he delayed because he loved you too much to give you less than his best? If you're honest, some of those no's or not yets saved you from heartache, from settling, from stepping into something that would have derailed your destiny. Chosen one, your waiting season is sacred. It's where character is built, where faith is stretched, where you stop depending on what you can see and start trusting in what God has spoken. Right now, I know it may feel quiet. You might even feel invisible. But heaven is watching. God is working in the background, weaving together a story that will make sense soon. And when that breakthrough comes, and it will, you'll realize that the version of you standing in the blessing is far stronger, wiser, and more aligned than the version who first asked for it. So today, I encourage you, shift your perspective. Instead of asking, when will it happen? Start asking, God, what are you teaching me in this waiting? There's gold in this season if you're willing to look for it. If this message is speaking directly to your heart, let me know in the comments. Share a moment where God used a delay to protect or prepare you. I believe your story will encourage someone else who's still in the middle of their waiting. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe, and join this community of chosen ones who understand that God's timing is always worth the wait. Before I end this part, I want you to repeat this with me. Wherever you are, say it out loud. My waiting is not wasted. God is preparing me for more than I asked for. I trust his timing, and I know my breakthrough is coming right on time. Hold on to that truth, chosen one. The delay is almost over, and when God moves, it will be suddenly. Stay expectant. Part 3. The Spiritual Currency of Faith. Chosen one. Let's talk about something more valuable than money, more powerful than connections, something that heaven recognizes even when the world overlooks it. It's called faith. Now I know, faith is a word we hear often. But today, I want you to truly understand what it means to live by the spiritual currency of faith. Because in God's kingdom, faith is how transactions happen. It's how invisible promises become visible realities. Hebrews 11:1 tells us, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Think about that. Faith isn't just belief. It's substance. It's something real. Something that holds weight in the spiritual realm, even before you can touch it in the physical. Let me share a story. There was a time when I had nothing but faith to hold on to. I remember standing in line at a small grocery store, counting the little cash I had left. I needed to buy food, but I also felt a tug on my heart when I saw the person ahead of me, a young mother struggling to find enough coins to pay for a simple meal. Everything in my mind said, "You can't afford to help. You barely have enough for yourself." But my spirit whispered something else. "Trust me, so even in lack." So I did. I quietly covered her bill. She looked at me with tears in her eyes, whispering, "God bless you." I smiled, but inside, wondered how I'd manage the rest of the week. But here's where faith did what logic never could. The very next day, I received an unexpected call, an old friend offering me a project that paid far more than I had spent. It wasn't coincidence. It was a divine response to a faith transaction. Chosen one. This is what I want you to grasp. Faith moves heaven. While the world tells you to hold tightly to what little you have, God invites you to trust him enough to release it, because he knows what's waiting on the other side of obedience. Faith is action in the absence of proof. It's speaking abundance when your bank account says otherwise. It's sowing kindness when you're weary. It's believing that God's promise is already fulfilled, even when your eyes still see delay. And let me tell you, this kind of faith isn't easy. It's forged in the fire of uncertainty. It's built when you choose to believe again after disappointment. But here's the beautiful part. Every time you choose faith, you're making a deposit in the spiritual realm, a deposit that earns divine interest. You may not see the return immediately, but trust me, heaven keeps perfect records. Now, I want to address something important. We live in a world obsessed with manifestation and attracting wealth through positive thinking. But what I'm talking about isn't some trendy self-help tactic. This isn't about forcing the universe to give you what you want. This is about alignment, aligning your heart, your words, and your actions with God's promises. You see, when you operate in faith, you're not twisting God's arm. You're simply agreeing with what He's already declared over your life. There's a difference between wishing for a breakthrough and walking like it's already yours. Chosen one, how are you spending your spiritual currency today? Are you speaking life, even when circumstances look dead? Are you thanking God for provision before it arrives? Are you moving forward with the confidence that what's unseen is more real than what's seen? Here's a truth I've learned. Gratitude and obedience multiply faith. When you remain grateful in seasons of lack, you create an atmosphere where miracles thrive. When you obey those quiet prompts from God, even when they don't make sense, you unlock doors no man can shut. Let me offer you a perspective shift. Instead of asking, "When will my breakthrough come?" start declaring, "My breakthrough is already released. I'm just walking toward it in faith." Because that's exactly what's happening. Heaven responds to faith. Not fear, not desperation, but faith. I know someone listening right now has been quietly battling doubt. You've been wondering if it's foolish to keep believing when nothing seems to change. Let me remind you, faith isn't foolish, it's foundational. Every great move of God in Scripture began with someone daring to believe beyond what they could see. Abraham believed for a child in old age. Moses believed the sea would part. The woman with the issue of blood believed that just touching Jesus' garment would heal her. None of them had evidence until they moved in faith. And neither will you until you choose to trust. So today, I challenge you. Speak boldly about what you're believing for. Don't shrink your prayers to match your circumstances. Expand your faith to match God's capacity. Say it out loud. I am walking in divine provision. My financial breakthrough is not coming. It's already mine in the Spirit, manifesting in God's perfect time. Let that be your declaration every morning. If this message is stirring something in you, I want to hear from you. Share in the comments how faith has carried you through a tough season, or how you're choosing to stand in faith today, even before you see the outcome. And as always, if this resonates, like this video, subscribe, and stay connected to this community of believers who understand that faith is our greatest asset. Before I close, let me leave you with this. Faith isn't passive. It's powerful. Every time you choose to trust God over what you see, you're making a heavenly transaction. And when the time is right, you'll withdraw a blessing so great, it will be clear to everyone that it wasn't by your effort, but by your faith. Chosen one, your faith is working. Even now, keep walking, keep believing. The release is closer than you think. Stay expectant. Part 4. The ripple effect of your breakthrough. Chosen one, I need you to understand something crucial about this blessing that's coming your way. It's not just for you. Yes, God is about to release a financial breakthrough into your life. Yes, it will ease burdens, answer prayers, and open doors you thought were closed forever. But this isn't just about filling your hands. It's about impacting generations. You see, when God blesses a chosen one, He's thinking far beyond today. He's thinking about the legacy you'll leave, the chains you'll break, and the lives you'll touch. Let me share a story with you, one that I believe mirrors what many of you are about to experience. There was a man named Samuel. He grew up watching his parents struggle just to survive. Every dollar was stretched. Every opportunity was scarce. Poverty wasn't just a season. It was a cycle passed down like an unwanted inheritance. But Samuel was different. Even as a child, he felt a pull in his spirit. A quiet voice telling him, "You won't end where this began." For years, he worked hard, prayed harder, and held on to faith when there was no visible reason to. The breakthrough didn't come quickly, but when it came, it was undeniable. A business deal that seemed impossible was suddenly approved. Resources poured in. Debts were cleared. But Samuel didn't stop there. Instead of using his blessing just to live comfortably, he started something bigger, a foundation in his community to help families trapped in the same cycle he escaped from. Scholarships, food programs, mentorship opportunities, all funded by a single breakthrough that God placed in the hands of someone who understood legacy. Chosen one, this is the ripple effect of your breakthrough. Psalm 112:3 says, "Wealth and riches are in their house, and their righteousness endures forever." This isn't just about material wealth, it's about establishing a house of righteous abundance that echoes through generations. God is trusting you with this blessing because He knows you'll do more than consume it. You'll cultivate it. Let's go deeper. Many of us have grown up under the shadow of financial trauma, watching parents or grandparents stress over every bill, believing that struggle was normal, even expected. That mindset becomes a silent curse, convincing us that abundance is for others, but not for us. But God is in the business of breaking curses. This financial check that's on its way to you isn't just payment, it's proof. Proof that the cycle ends with you. Proof that lack is no longer your portion. Proof that future generations will know provision, not poverty. I want you to pause and think. How will you use this breakthrough? Because when God blesses a chosen one, He embeds within that blessing the power to transform not just personal circumstances, but entire communities, families, and futures. Maybe it's funding a dream you've carried for years, one that will create opportunities for others. Maybe it's providing stability so your children or grandchildren never have to experience the fear you once lived with. Maybe it's supporting causes that align with your purpose, becoming a vessel through which God's generosity flows. Whatever it is, know this: you are being positioned not just as a receiver, but as a distributor of divine favor. And here's something powerful. When you shift from a mindset of survival to one of stewardship, God trusts you with more. Because He knows your hands are open, not just to receive, but to release. Chosen one, your story is about to inspire others. People who watched you struggle in silence will soon witness how God elevates those who remain faithful. Your testimony will be a beacon for those still waiting on their breakthrough. But remember, this isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving that God's promises are always right. So I encourage you today, start envisioning the impact of your blessing. Ask yourself, who will benefit because I chose to trust God through the hard seasons? If this message is awakening something in you, if you feel that call to be a conduit for change, share in the comments how you plan to use your breakthrough to uplift others. Let's declare together that this isn't just personal victory, it's generational transformation. And of course, like this video, subscribe, and stay connected to this growing community of chosen ones who understand that abundance comes with assignment. Before we close, let me leave you with this. When that check arrives, when the doors swing open and the provision flows in, don't just see it as a reward. See it as a responsibility. A beautiful, divine responsibility to rewrite stories, to restore hope, and to remind the world that when God blesses, He blesses with purpose. You're not just receiving wealth, you're stepping into a role as a steward of God's goodness. So prepare your heart, prepare your vision, because what's coming will be more than enough for you. It will overflow into every life connected to yours. Chosen one, your breakthrough is bigger than you think. Get ready to let the ripples reach far and wide. Part 5. Stepping into your divine authority. Chosen one. There's something you need to hear today, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. This financial breakthrough that's coming your way, it's not just a blessing, it's a promotion in the spiritual realm. You're not just receiving a check, you're stepping into a new dimension of divine authority. For so long, life may have conditioned you to play small, to shrink your expectations, to apologize for wanting more. But God didn't design you to live in survival mode. He designed you to reign, with wisdom, humility, and purpose. Isaiah 61 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Notice those first words. Arise, shine. That's a call to action. A call to stand up and walk boldly in who God created you to be. This blessing isn't arriving so you can stay the same. It's arriving to elevate you, to position you where your influence, your voice, and your resources can reflect God's glory on a whole new level. But let's be real for a moment. Stepping into abundance requires more than excitement. It requires maturity. You see, when you've spent years in lack, fear can creep in even when provision arrives. Fear of losing it, fear of mismanaging it, fear of not being worthy of it. I've been there. When my breakthrough finally came, I found myself questioning if it was too good to be true. I had to confront old mindsets, those quiet lies that whispered, "This won't last," or "You don't deserve this." But here's what God taught me, and I believe He's teaching you the same. This isn't a temporary blessing. This is a permanent shift. You're not receiving overflow just to ease your life. You're receiving it because you've been entrusted with more. God knows that what He places in your hands will flow through you to impact others. This is where divine authority comes in. Authority isn't loud. It doesn't boast. True authority is silent confidence, knowing that you carry heaven's endorsement, so you no longer need to explain or defend what God is doing in your life. Chosen one. It's time to stop asking for permission to prosper. Stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. When God elevates you, it's not to flaunt, it's to lead. You're being called into rooms where your presence will shift atmospheres, not because of titles or wealth, but because of the anointing that rests on you. But with this authority comes responsibility. It's no longer about if the blessing will come, it's about how you'll steward it when it does. Will you let fear dictate your decisions? Or will you walk boldly, knowing that the same God who provided is the same God who will sustain? I want you to take a moment right now and envision yourself living in that authority. No more second-guessing. No more playing defense against life's challenges. Instead, you wake up every day knowing you've been positioned by God, not just to receive, but to build, to restore, to lead. This is your inheritance, not because you earned it through perfection, but because you endured the process. You remained faithful in the silent seasons. You grew when no one was watching. And now, heaven is responding. If this is resonating with you, I encourage you to declare it in the comments. Type, "I walk in divine authority." Let that be your affirmation today. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe, and stay connected with this community where we remind each other of who we are in Christ. Before we close, let me speak this over you. Your days of wondering when are over. Your days of questioning your worthiness are behind you. You're stepping into a season where you no longer chase blessings, because blessings recognize you. You carry divine authority now, so lift your head, straighten your crown, and walk forward knowing that what God has released in your life is sealed, sustained, and overflowing. Let's end this with a powerful affirmation. Say it with me. I am ready to receive my divine inheritance. I walk in overflow. I lead with purpose, guided by God's hand. This is my season of abundance and authority. Chosen one, never forget. You weren't just called to survive. You were chosen to reign. Stay expectant. Stay bold. Your story of victory is just beginning.